Many adults over 60 believe that feeling tired, weaker, forgetful, or mentally slower is simply part of getting older. And sometimes that's true. But sometimes it isn't aging at all. Sometimes the body is quietly missing something essential, a nutrient deficiency. Something small that slowly affects energy, memory, sleep, mood, muscles, and even confidence. And the difficult part is this: most people never notice it happening because the symptoms often appear gradually. You feel a little more tired this year than last year, a little weaker climbing stairs, a little more forgetful, a little less motivated. And over time, many people simply accept it as normal aging. But what if part of the problem isn't age itself, but nutrition? Today, we're talking about some of the most common nutrients adults over 60 often lack, and why these deficiencies can quietly affect quality of life more than many people realize.
Getting older changes the body in ways that are easy to overlook. Appetite changes, digestion changes, muscle mass changes, sleep changes. Even the way the body absorbs vitamins and minerals changes over time. And because of this, nutritional deficiencies become far more common after 60. Not because people are careless, but because the body itself begins working differently. And unfortunately, many symptoms of nutrient deficiency look almost identical to symptoms people associate with aging. Fatigue, brain fog, low mood, muscle weakness, poor balance, low energy, sleep problems. So instead of asking, what might my body be missing? Many people simply say, I guess this is just what getting older feels like. But aging and deficiency are not always the same thing. And understanding that distinction can be incredibly empowering. Because while we cannot stop aging, we can often support the body more wisely. Today, let's talk about 5 nutrients many adults over 60 are commonly low in, and why they matter more than most people realize.
Let's begin with one of the most important nutrients of all, vitamin D. Many older adults are low in vitamin D without even realizing it. And one reason is surprisingly simple. As we age, the skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight. At the same time, many retirees naturally spend more time indoors, especially during colder months. The result is that vitamin D levels can quietly decline year after year. And the symptoms are often subtle: low energy, muscle weakness, feeling physically slower, low mood, bone discomfort. Sometimes people describe it as simply not feeling like themselves anymore. Vitamin D also plays a major role in bone health. And after 60, maintaining bone strength becomes increasingly important because falls become more dangerous, recovery becomes slower, mobility becomes more precious. What's interesting is that many people assume weakness automatically comes with age, but in some cases, the body is simply under-supported. Even moderate vitamin D deficiency can affect how people feel day to day. Now, this doesn't mean everyone needs massive supplements or extreme routines, but it does mean paying attention matters. Sometimes the healthiest habits are surprisingly simple: morning sunlight, short daily walks, gentle movement, time outside, consistent routines.
Vitamin B12. Another nutrient many adults over 60 commonly struggle with is vitamin B12. B12 is essential for nerve health, brain function, energy production, healthy red blood cells. And here's the problem. As people age, the stomach often produces less acid. Why does that matter? Because stomach acid helps the body absorb B12 from food. So even people eating reasonably well can still struggle to absorb enough. And the symptoms can be surprisingly serious. Fatigue, confusion, memory problems, brain fog, numbness or tingling in the hands and feet, poor concentration, mood changes.
The difficult part is that these symptoms are often blamed entirely on aging. Someone may say, "My memory just isn't what it used to be." And while aging does affect cognition, nutrition can also play a meaningful role. One older adult once described B12 deficiency this way: "It felt like my brain was moving through fog." That description captures something important, because nutritional deficiencies often affect not only the body, but also how people experience daily life emotionally. Low energy changes motivation. Brain fog changes confidence. Weakness changes independence. And over time, those changes can quietly affect emotional well-being too. This is why healthy aging is never just physical. Everything connects.
Protein. Now let's talk about something many people underestimate after 60. Protein. This one is incredibly important because aging naturally reduces muscle mass over time. This process is gradual, but it matters enormously. Muscles support strength, balance, mobility, stability, independence. And without enough protein, muscle loss can accelerate faster than many people realize. The result may appear slowly. Getting up from chairs becomes harder. Walking feels more tiring. Balance feels less steady. Recovery takes longer. Energy declines. And many people assume, "I'm just getting old." But sometimes the body simply lacks enough nourishment to maintain strength. What makes this especially common after 60 is that appetite often changes. Meals become smaller. Cooking becomes less enjoyable. Some people live alone and stop preparing balanced meals consistently. Others unintentionally replace nutritious meals with convenience foods. And over time, protein intake quietly drops. But maintaining strength later in life matters deeply, not just for appearance, for independence, the ability to move confidently through life, the ability to continue participating in the world. One of the most powerful things older adults can do is continue supporting muscle health through both.
Magnesium is another nutrient that often goes unnoticed, and yet it quietly affects many systems in the body. Sleep, muscle relaxation, stress response, nerve function, heart rhythm, energy production. Low magnesium levels can sometimes contribute to muscle cramps, poor sleep, fatigue, tension, restlessness. And unfortunately, many modern diets contain less magnesium than people realize, especially diets built around heavily processed foods. One reason this matters so much after 60 is because sleep itself becomes more fragile with age. Many older adults struggle with waking during the night, light sleep, difficulty falling asleep again, and poor sleep affects nearly everything else: mood, memory, patience, energy, emotional resilience. Sometimes people believe they are simply becoming more anxious with age, but in reality, the body may be depleted and overstressed. This is why healthy aging often requires looking deeper than surface symptoms, because symptoms are messages, not punishments. The body is always communicating, and listening carefully matters.
Omega-3 fatty acids. Finally, let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats support brain health, heart health, inflammation balance, cognitive function. As we age, protecting brain health becomes increasingly important. And while no single food can guarantee perfect aging, consistent nutrition can absolutely influence long-term well-being. What makes omega-3s especially valuable is their connection to inflammation. Chronic inflammation has been linked to many age-related health concerns. And while the word inflammation sounds abstract, many people experience its effects without realizing it. Joint discomfort, low energy, sluggish recovery, feeling physically worn down more often. Again, healthy aging is not about finding miracle cures. It is about giving the body better support over time. And small choices matter. A healthier breakfast, more whole foods, better hydration, less processed food, more consistency. People often underestimate how powerful small daily habits become over the course of years, but the body notices, even when we don't immediately see results.
Perhaps one of the most difficult parts of aging is learning which changes are truly inevitable and which ones are quietly asking for attention. Many adults over 60 begin accepting symptoms they may not need to accept so quickly. Exhaustion, weakness, mental fog, low motivation, poor sleep. Sometimes these things are connected to aging, but sometimes the body is simply asking for better support. And there is something hopeful about that, because it means change is still possible. Not perfection, not becoming young again, but feeling better, stronger, clearer, more energized, more capable of enjoying life fully. Healthy aging is not about fighting the body. It is about understanding it more compassionately.
Growing older changes the body. That is true for everyone. But aging well is not about chasing youth. It is about learning how to support yourself wisely through each stage of life. And sometimes, the smallest habits quietly make the biggest difference. A little more sunlight, a little more movement, better nourishment, more protein, more rest, more awareness. Small acts of care repeated consistently over time. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to The Wellness Path for more thoughtful conversations about healthy aging, longevity, emotional wellness, and living well after 50. And remember, getting older does not mean your health no longer matters. In many ways, it matters more than ever.